There's no denying, sometimes the ladies just like a guy that smells manly. And in this video, I've definitely got 10 fragrances that there's no mistaking. These are masculine and manly. Let's talk about them. Stay tuned. You know, nobody really talks about this one much anymore from what I see, and it's actually still quite a really good fragrance, underrated at this point, from the House of Prada. Prada Luna Rossa Sport. That's right, that beautiful aluminum and red glass bottle. Similar vibe to Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male, a little bit warmer, I find. Actually, kind of leans a little bit more masculine, to be completely honest. The woods are dialed up a bit. It does have that aromatic vanilla, type of vibe going for it. And it, not a real loud fragrance, but it has the right amount of sillage to captivate and grab somebody when you walk by. And like I said, no denying, it's a masculine scent. It's kind of Prada's twist and rendition on an all-time classic men's fragrance with Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male. Very similar in my opinion, but not the same fragrance by any means. I find Le Male being a little bit more minty and sweet, with this being a bit more warm and woody, and the lavender, of course, is a bit more polished and smooth. When I say polished, I actually mean smooth, because when it comes to lavender and iris, nobody really does it in the designer market like Prada. One that's overlooked these days, like I said before, and I feel like more people need to give it a shot. It doesn't really get talked about much anymore. Next time you're at a fragrance counter, see if they have some Prada fragrances. Give this a spray if you haven't tried it before. You may end up wanting a bottle. Prada Luna Rossa Sport. Now this next one is another that's an all-time classic. Yes, it's been reformulated. I don't have the old style bottles that have the sticker instead of the print, but even the newer style bottles is still a beautiful aromatic barbershop style fragrance with a nice dry tobacco. It's a little soapy. It's Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme. This is another one that you can pretty much do anything with. No denying it's a men's fragrance. Great work style fragrance. Something you can throw on with a suit, a t-shirt, a polo, an Oxford, it don't matter, a hoodie like I'm wearing. It just works. This is signature scent worthy, decent performance, 6 to 7 hour type of stuff these days. Some may get a little bit less, but it smells great. It goes with everything. Like I said, very masculine fragrance. There's no denying. It's a manly smell. It's a bit more professional and polished than I would say for a t-shirt type of fragrance, but at the same time, I don't feel like it dresses up too much to where you can't wear it with a t-shirt or a hoodie like I'm wearing. Another one that just gets no love these days. Does not really get love from anybody. You can find them for a really good price. They pop up at the rack stores. They're widely available online from discounters for a very good price. I think right in that $40, 40 some odd dollar range will get you a 125 ml like this, maybe closer to 50. And that's gonna last you a very long time. You don't need a ton of sprays. I mean, you can be a little bit more liberal with this one. You can go a little bit heavier, but you really don't need to. It all depends on your personality and how you wanna match your fragrance to. If you're a loud type of person, spray it heavy. Not so loud, spray it easy. Definitely manly though. Check it out if you haven't in a while, because it's still good, even though it's not the original formula, Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme. This one does it all as well. Works in any occasion, very manly, has a strong masculinity to it. One of the more masculine blue fragrances out there. I actually wore it on a hike that me and my wife went on the other day. I'm talking about Versace Dylan Blue. It's easy to go anosmic to this one and think it's a weak performer, but in my experience, it still performs great. The age we're living in where we have to wear masks, you spray this one on, you wear your mask to go somewhere, you come back home, you take your mask off, or you get in the car, take your mask off, and it hits you 3, 4, 5 hours in, it's still projecting off your skin. At least that's the case for me. And I don't have some old beast mode batch bottle or anything like that. This was bought in the beginning of 2020, like January or February of 2020. So not an older bottle, relatively new batch, performs very well for me, and versatility is probably the biggest strength of this fragrance. Blue fragrances tend to be extremely versatile, but this one has a stronger masculinity. It's got a little bit more spice to it. The incense note adds a bit more to the masculine side of it as well, because it darkens it up quite a bit. Really a great smell that is a strong compliment getter. You know, it's another one that's polarizing, just like Dior Sauvage is, where some people love it and swear by it and some people hate it, but that's okay. Judge it for yourself. I can't deny that at first I wasn't a fan of it in the opening. It took time to grow on me. This was a fragrance that definitely was not a love, was kind of a dislike in the beginning for me. I had one of those little bitty dabber splash on type of bottles where you take the cap off and tilt it to the side to put it on your skin. I had to go through that completely before I started to really appreciate this fragrance. Now I love this fragrance. I think it smells wonderful, still performs really great, very masculine, very versatile for any occasion. Versace Dylan Blue, don't take other people's words, try it for yourself. So there's no denying this manly fragrance. It's got a nice burst of lavender up top. It's extremely high quality. There's a nice warmth and spice to it. There's a lot of dense woods here. There's a beautiful resinous myrrh in this fragrance as well. A few herbaceous notes. There's a little touch of iris that I don't really pick up much of, but Zaharoff Signature Pour Homme is a man's fragrance. Very masculine, signature scent worthy. Maybe not one I would go real heavy with in the high heat if you live in, say, the Gulf Coast region where it's always hot and humid several months out of the year, which is the area I'm originally from. This can be a little much for that because it's a very warming effect on my skin anyways. Like I said, very warm, spicy, and resinous after that lavender starts to die down a little bit. And it's one that really will grab some attention. It's not a room filler, but it's definitely got a strong CIs. The trail is pretty heavy with this one. It smells like money, as I've said many times before about this one. It's a man's fragrance. It's a CEO type of fragrance. It smells expensive. It smells important. If you haven't tried it yet, there's always a link in my video descriptions if you want to get your hands on a sample. If you're ready to get your hands on a bottle, using the link will get you a free gift. One that I feel every guy should give a try. You won't know if you love it or hate it until you spray it on your skin and give it a wear. And it's one that I urge you, try it. One of the better masculine fragrances out there. Zaharoff Signature Pour Homme. Terre d'Hermès. You know, those fragrances are very popular, and I'm not the biggest fan of that scent DNA. I don't have anything against it. I don't hate it or anything like that. But there's several bargain style ways to kind of smell similar to that DNA, and a really good one that you can find at the rack stores, namely Burlington's and places like that for $20. Banana Republic Cypress Cedar. That beautiful bitter orange, a little bit of leather, that slightly smoky vetiver. A little bit of citrus is up top from that bitter orange. Decent performer, you know, 6-ish hour fragrance. Nothing special or beastly about the performance that you're going to get from this one. But for the first few hours, you'll have a nice little trail following you, a moderate little trail where you can grab somebody's attention in the first few hours. Like I said, not really projecting heavy. After about an hour and a half, it's going to sit pretty close. But like I said, you have that little mild trail following you. And it's one that can kind of do everything. Very masculine scent, as the Terre d'Hermès style fragrances tend to be. There's no mistaking this smells like a man. And it can definitely dress up very well. But at the same time, it's not so serious that you can't wear it with a t-shirt. Can be another one that's kind of a daily driver type of situation. It can work in all seasons and any occasion. That's why it's in this video. Next time you're popping in at your nearest Burlington coat factory, take a look and see what Banana Republic fragrances they have. And if they have Cypress Cedar, give it a shot. Now, one of the most masculine fragrances ever is Old Spice. And Old Spice can be had for just a few dollars for a splash bottle. And it's very nostalgic, doesn't perform worth a crap anymore, don't get me wrong. But what if I told you there's a fragrance out there that has a strong similarity to Old Spice, but on a much higher quality level and performs night and day versus Old Spice? I'm talking about Creed Viking. This is one that's relatively new to my collection. I've only worn a few times, but it does give me a similar scent profile to Old Spice, just on a much grander scale and quality. It's, if Old Spice was a niche fragrance, Creed Viking. So pink pepper dominant, nice mintiness to it. It's never really too far out there as far as your sillage and your projection, but there is a nice little bubble that's going to stick with you for several hours. It's got a sneaky sillage to it, to where it stays pretty close to the skin after about an hour, hour and a half, but it never gets too close to the skin. Well, I mean, eventually it does, but it takes hours and hours and hours to get really close to the skin and become a skin scent. Actually, decent performer, and not the most expensive fragrance in this video, but definitely not the cheapest one either. Sample it. Sample it. If you're looking for a great, and I mean great, do-it-all masculine cologne, because this scent profile, they were calling them colognes back then pretty regularly, because Old Spice was known as a cologne. Creed Viking. It's, like I said, the niche version, if you will, of Old Spice. Really good stuff. Sample it. Now, the reason I said Creed Viking wasn't the most expensive fragrance in the video is because of this fragrance. Now, don't get me wrong, I paid right around $200 from FragranceNet because Venba was out of stock at the time on that bottle of Creed Viking. But Venba's not out of stock on this one. Roger Parfums Danger Parfum Cologne. It has slowly become one of my favorite masculine fragrances. That's why it's in this video to begin with. But at the same time, when I first got the 5 in the collection from the Parfum Cologne line, it was my second to least favorite, vetiver being my least favorite, because I'm not the biggest vetiver fan, but I do like that fragrance. It's just my least favorite of the 5. This one runs a race with Scandal for me because it's still an aromatic fougere, just like Scandal. It's a little less spicy, and don't get me wrong, I love spicy fragrances. I still prefer Scandal because it's so spicy. I hold that in high regard, but this one's got an even higher wearability for more occasions. This one works better in the hotter weather, whereas Scandal might be a little too much for hot spring days and, of course, hot summer days. This one's a little lighter, a little bit fresher, still that masculine fougere. It just works. It's kind of, if I had to pick one do-it-all fragrance in the line, it's definitely Danger. Danger has become one of my go-tos when I just want something that just smells of quality, super masculine, nothing heavy on the florals, because I do love my floral fragrances, my iris fragrances, roses, stuff like that. But when I'm just feeling like smelling like a damn man, this is one of the main fragrances that comes to mind. This is one of the better fragrances on the market, in my opinion. I absolutely love this one. This is another one that wasn't a love at first. I didn't dislike it. I liked it from the very first time I smelled it. But as time progressed, as sprays and wearings went on over time, I have fallen in love with this fragrance. And if there's just one that you give a chance from this line, believe it or not, I'm not recommending Elysium, or even my favorite, which is Scandal, and Creation E is a close second. I'm saying Danger Parfum Cologne. A masculine, do-it-all fragrance. Performs, scent quality, it checks all the boxes. It can work in every situation. Try this one if you haven't. So naturally, the entire line can fall into this, but this is a bit more masculine than the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum because it's so warm and woody. Of course, I'm talking about Bleu de Chanel Parfum. It's another masculine do-it-all fragrance. This is a bit more refined than the EDP and way more refined than the EDT. The EDT is a bit more synthetic for sure. And I'm not saying this doesn't have synthetic components. I mean, it's got a strong isoe super note in it. Not saying it's a natural fragrance by any means, but it's a damn good smelling fragrance. And not a heavy projector, more of a intimate type of, you got to be close to me to smell me, but it leaves a nice little mild sillage, little trail following you for hours. Like I said, it's not really going to push out far, But what does come off of you, it lingers in the air pretty well because the oils are so concentrated. This wears a bit heavier than the other two because it's a high concentration of oils. Ergo, that little trail that's following you is going to stay put for several seconds longer than the other two concentrations would. Therefore, this one can grab attention a bit better, I find, when you walk by somebody, whereas just standing by somebody, the other two might be a little better because they come off of your skin more. They push out and project more, whereas this is the head turner. This is the one that when you walk by, the heads are going to turn. Very masculine, very beautiful, very polished. Worth every penny. One of the more expensive designer fragrances out there, and they're hard to get discounted. You're going to pay retail nine times out of 10. That's what I had to do. But damn it, it's worth it. Bleu de Chanel, Parfum. There's a lot of flankers that have come out for this fragrance, and this one doesn't seem to really get much love anymore. I featured it not that long. I say not that long ago. It's been a little while. But it's one that when the spring rolls around, this is one of the fragrances I think of when I'm going to be dressing up. And when I say dressing up, throwing a suit on. Not necessarily for anything outside of a meeting, really, because I might get a little bit more daring with my fragrance for a special event. But business, professional, business, formal, definitely a great fragrance. Givenchy Gentlemen Only. It just doesn't really get any love anymore. These days, I don't know why, it just doesn't. It's a little fruity, a little fresh up top. You know, has a nice vibe to it. But then this beautiful incense comes in and it warms up. It gets a lot more woody. And that playfulness that's up top starts to get much more serious. You know, Gentleman Only is a good name for it. It's a gentlemanly fragrance, but it has a playful side and it has a serious side. So this is one that dresses up, dresses down very, very easily. I definitely prefer to dress this one up a bit more than I like to wear it with a t-shirt or a golf shirt or anything like that, but it absolutely can do both of those things. It can be a signature scent for you. This is a really, really good fragrance. This beautiful purple juice, I mean, it just doesn't get much love anymore. The birch leaf, that beautiful smokiness that's in here, that little bit of patchouli. I said incense earlier, I meant the birch because it gives that smoky quality. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Decent performer. Not a beast. Not an all-day spray. But a really refined scent. Gentlemen Only. The name is fitting. It's masculine. It's professional. Slightly playful in the opening. And it gets the job done. And it gets no love. That's very sad because it's still a very, very good fragrance. And if you're going to dabble into the other fragrances in the line, I feel like you need to try this one. It's absolutely worth owning, and it might be the one you reach for the most. Very masculine, works on any occasion. Givenchy, Gentlemen Only. Last but not least, definitely the most masculine in its line, in my opinion, because of the heavy dose of patchouli and incense with that beautiful Acqua di Gio DNA. It's Profumo, Acqua di Gio, Giorgio Armani. I don't know how many of you had to guess that this would be in here, but this fragrance is built for this video, you know. A masculine do-it-all cologne. Masculine do-it-all fragrance. Man, not too many come to mind quicker than Acqua di Gio Profumo. Performs, extreme compliment getter, refined and polished from that original DNA. It's Acqua di Gio grown up, you know. Manly scent. Because the original was very fresh, very inviting. Yes, it's still to this day intoxicating. Women love the way that thing smells. I get it. This is that much better. It really is. This one dresses up a lot better. This one works in other seasons a lot better because Acqua di Gio is a freshie. This has a lot of fresh aspects to it, but not a straight up freshie. Has a darker patchouli and incense that I mentioned before that refines this one, and it's a parfum concentration. It performs a lot better. It wears a bit heavier and it projects a bit more, so it really cuts through the cold a lot better. And this one goes really well with a suit and tie. I mean really, really well with a suit and tie for you guys that wear a suit to work every day. One of the best masculine do-it-all fragrances Acqua di Gio, Profumo. Well guys, that's the 10 I wanted to cover, and until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. How many of these have you tried on this list? How many of you yet to try? There's no better time than right now. If any of these intrigued you, there's always ways. There's links below for some of them. Give them a shot. You never know if you like them until you try them yourself. Don't just trust me or others. Trust your own nose. See how they smell to you. See how they smell on your skin. Take them for a test drive. You never know what you like or don't like till you try them for yourself. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of these 10 fragrances discussed in this video and you give them a spray now, who knows? You might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.